Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. We are live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom as we do every weekday starting at 1 p.m. And we go throughout the afternoon and we cover a wide range of topics. So we appreciate you being here, whether you're watching on the Fox 12 Oregon apps, the website, or even on YouTube. You can watch us live or after the fact on all of those. Right now, we are going to be talking about avian influenza. Bird flu, and in particular, the things that the public should know about this and about the spread that is going on currently. And if you do have backyard flocks, chickens, ducks, or maybe even up to a farming standpoint, what you should know to protect your animals and also protect yourself and perhaps other pets as well. So we're going to get into that right now. And to do so, we have Oregon State Veterinarian Dr. Ryan Scholz joining us. And Ryan, thank you so much, Doctor. Really appreciate you being here to walk through this. And, you know, I always like to give just the basic education here for everybody to start off. Could you give us the definition of what avian influenza is and what really people should know just about it in general?
Yeah, so avian influenza is actually a broad category of viruses that can infect poultry. What we're going to be talking about today specifically is the highly pathogenic version of avian influenza, or highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI, which is a strain of the virus that, rather than just causing mild flu-like symptoms, is generally fatal to birds. It can be rapidly fatal to birds, especially domestic poultry. And in most cases, it is 100% fatal when it gets into our domestic, our chickens, our turkeys, quail, those kinds of birds.
And when it comes to the specific version, you know, for the spread of this right now, how much are you seeing it around the state and around the Northwest?
Oh, yeah, so we haven't had a ton of cases. We haven't had a lot of cases in the last few weeks. We are seeing some cases again now. We've been seeing a lot in wildlife. We see it a lot this time of year in ducks and geese and some of the falcons and other birds. And so we are still seeing it. It's still around. It's still a risk. I'm hopeful that maybe we're not seeing a lot in poultry because the outreach has worked and people are implementing the biosecurity measures to protect their flocks for their personal birds from this virus.
And when it comes to biosecurity measures that people can be doing to protect themselves and their flocks, what are some of those big steps and measures that they can take to make sure that their birds are protected throughout the run of this?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is just keeping our domestic poultry separate from wild waterfowl. The ducks, the geese that are migrating through the area right now are what are carrying this virus. And so there's a lot of different ways we can see those birds having spreading the virus to our domestic poultry. One is through direct contact. The most common scenario we see is someone that has a small pond. They may have a few ducks. They have some chickens. Those birds all intermingle on that pond, and that's how the virus spills over from the wild birds into the domestic birds. We do see other cases where it's just chickens, and they may have exposure in a pasture, or we've had cases where hunters have brought back geese that they've harvested and cleaned them on their patio and washed that water through their chicken coop, or different things like that, where we're causing that exposure of the birds to wild birds, to waste of wild birds, anything like that can spread that virus.
So definitely, so from what I understand, yeah, very important to keep your animals separated then from any exposure to those wild birds or direct contact. Does it have to be direct contact for the avian influenza to spread to them?
It doesn't. It does not. It can be indirect. It can be through feces. It can be through fluids. There's lots of different ways that virus can spread.
So it sounds like you'd really want to keep them away from anywhere where wild birds could even be congregating or had congregated.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When it comes to other domestic animals, have we seen, you know, pets even, you know, like pet dogs, cats, or other livestock, have we seen any kind of a crossover between birds and that so far?
We have to some extent. We know cats are susceptible to this virus. We've had some cases in cats. Mostly those cases have been associated with raw pet food. So that is a risk factor there. There has been some cases across the country of exposure of cats to wild birds, usually like on the edge of a wildlife refuge where we've got lots of birds congregating. And there is some evidence of other farm type species. It's less common. We did have a pig here in Oregon that was infected last year as well.
Is there any potential concern? I know that there was at least one case of crossing over to humans.
Yeah, there's been a handful of cases across the country. It is a risk. Most often, those cases are associated with commercial poultry farms and employees on those farms. However, it is always a risk. We have seen a couple cases, especially recently, of people with either backyard poultry or with exposure to wild poultry wild waterfowl where that's happened.
Yeah, but in general, should it be something that people are concerned about, or anything kind of, I guess, safety precautions that a person can take for that?
So in general, if your poultry are sick and dying, we certainly would recommend wearing gloves, wearing an N95, wearing some basic personal protective equipment. Outside of that, if your poultry are healthy, if the wild birds you're around are healthy, the risk is very low.
As far as any unhealthy birds, or say somebody does have and notice that some of their backyard poultry are dying or sick, what are the steps and procedures that they should take at that point?
Yeah, so again, wearing that personal protective equipment, wearing gloves, disposable or changeable outer clothing, if they're going to handle them at all, is a first step. The next thing is give us a call. We have a hotline that we monitor 24/7. We'll talk through that, get some information. If we determine there is risk, we'll send a veterinarian out to test those birds.
All right. Well, Doctor, anything else that you think is important for people to know?
No, I think it's important to keep in mind this time of year. Anytime we see wild ducks, wild geese, there's a risk there. But just some basic biosecurity can go a long ways.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate you
Absolutely.
being here, to help get the word out. So thanks, Doctor. Thanks for being on Fox 12 Now.
Absolutely.
All right, and thank you everybody for watching. So we appreciate you being here. Again, this is Fox 12 Now, and these are the things we get to do. I really appreciate Dr. Scholz having time to talk to us out on the road right now, and being able to come in and join us to talk about something important like that. We've got more coming up here throughout the show. We're going to take just a quick break, and then we'll be back. We've got some other news stories to catch you up on, and then we're also going to be speaking to Jim Todd from OMSI about a super solstice cold moon. There's a lot to that. That's something that you're going to be able to potentially see here in the Northwest, maybe even today. So we'll have him joining us, and there's a lot more throughout the afternoon. If there's breaking news, we'll have that as well. We'll take a break. We'll talk to you here in just a few. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.